Adoption of agenda 2.1 recommendation.
That council adopt the agenda as presented.
Can I get a seconder?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Adoption of minutes 3.1 recommendation.
The council approved the minutes from the special council meeting held on April the 26th, 2019.
Can I get a seconder? Any discussion? All in favor?
The council approved the minutes from the regular council meeting held on May 1st, 2019.
Can I get a seconder? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, introducing late items is 9.6. Director of Heritage Destination and Programs, Indigenous Affairs and Cultural Heritage Directorate. And then we also have an in-camera meeting. Barb, would you like to read that out?
As per section 91J, J, information that is prohibited or information that if it were presented in the document would be prohibited from disclosure under section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act.
No public hearings, none. Delegations, 6.1 recommendation.
Here come here the delegation from Papa Do's Pizza. Reed Perfect.
Can I get a seconder? And they're no show?
So your worship.
We did have this discussion, he was in January or whatever, and we had come to the discussion of saying, putting signs for the parking, and he has not done any of that, so I just want to
Verify that.
Are you aware of what he wants to do?
He wants the barricades to come down.
or,
know that much.
or he wants us to move them, but the only thing is if we move them farther in, people are gonna park in front of them, and they're gonna be backing out into traffic, which we don't want.
You're already doing that.
Chris?
Yeah, I was just gonna clarify that point, your worship, through Sandy. That's what we've been told, that the request was supposed to be this evening to move them back. And yeah, I agree with that assessment that it's gonna cause people to back out onto the highway. The other thing, in discussion with Councillor Hebert tonight, leading into this too, we realized that really moving the barricades is only gonna create one-way access parking, because it will only be southbound vehicles that would actually be allowed to turn into that parking lot. Anybody heading north from Grand Prairie,
We'll still cross the highway.
yeah, it's still prohibited to
We
do
don't
that
want-
from,
we don't want that.
from the ministry, so it's gonna have minimal impact in my opinion.
So when they came in to do the delegation last week, I did say to them that council has asked them on 2 different occasions. One, Chris had asked them to put signs down 50th there saying, and that he would endorse them, that they could park there to give them parking. I also reminded him that council asked him to put some arrows on it, pointing how to get around. And also we had suggested that they open up that green space as a parking. So I suspect maybe he, because Gary kind of looked at me as if to say, what? And
So if they were to move the barricades back,
Then we'd have people crossing the highway.
what you would have effectively is just a parking lot for them.
But how are they gonna turn around?
get in the back.
They back
I
around.
loaded it on the laptop specifically
Oh, sorry.
for this.
Sorry.
If you
You
guys-
about see them parking in front of them now and they're backing.
Well, there's no parking signs.
I know, but there's still parking there.
But the police have to enforce it.
Yes.
And the police don't. They're too busy picking up the drivers in front of my house.
I think the question is, and I haven't talked to them, I don't know what the rule is, but how can we help them?
Well, they were to put those signs up. And that was last September. They were supposed to do all the signage and everything, and they never did. And then they were supposed to open up the green space in the back there
They're gonna help themselves, we can't.
and pull in the back alley and put park in there. But they never did. They just left it and they're waiting for council to make the decision. And it's not something that we take lightly because it's all about safety, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're talking about this area down in here. No, any luck I can still get to 20. I've been having this weird scenario where it's either pulling up 20,
Across there.
How cool is that?
16,
Isn't that
20.
awesome?
Yeah. and
It's
see-
Google Maps.
Yep. Now, as soon as
That's
I
what
go a
he did
little
on
further
Saturday.
down the highway, this seems to click into 20, yeah, so this is the 2013 map.
Before we put the barricade.
Before we put them up, but twice now I've clicked down the highway and then it somehow switched me to 2019 or 2018. Well, it doesn't seem to be.
Drive down the highway.
Yeah, it won't even let me do that right now. Anyways, the barricades, folks, are pretty much right where that X is. So they're sort of here. There's a crosswalk that goes from that point over to here. There is just enough of a strip for somebody to kind of come in and parallel park here. We've been seeing that, and that's a little bit of an issue too. But
So if anything
from what
was
I
to go forward.
understand, he wants them back down to this area.
But the guy across the way said no. Was it the guy across the way or the guy next to him said no? Because when he pulls his trailer in,
He backs, okay, this is bringing up the later, oops. See, it did that again.
Bart,
Could we not, in front of the barricades on the pavement, write no parking?
We have it,
there's parking
and
signs
they're
there.
doing it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
There's metal no parking signs up on posts, on 2 posts, right there.
So, what I was talking about earlier too, I'm trying to get.
Don't rear end that car.
No.
Oh, see, they're orange now.
Yeah.
They're there.
Okay, so now, okay, I'm gonna stop there just so we don't lose the order. This is actually a Ministry of Highway sign that says right turn only. So as vehicles are coming this way, they're prohibited by the ministry from turning left, which
They still
includes left into here and left into there. When the previous council had directed us to put these, it was as a result of people on 50th saying that people were making illegal left-hand turns and then carrying high speeds down that road.
Well, that big truck, when they were doing that turnaround or the compressors, they were towing the compressors through there,
Right
through
there.
the private.
Yeah. So several of those residents have come back after the fact and said, thank you, it's made just a world of difference to the volume of traffic and the safety on our
And the kids
street."
can play on the street.
So, so yeah, but that's kind of my point with the barricades, I think, is that if we move them even back to where that car is, this left-hand turn prohibition doesn't change.
No.
So are we opening up that scenario again by having the barricades moved? Somebody who lives, down here isn't gonna care if they're just coming to get a pizza.
Yes.
They're not gonna go all the way around because they're supposed to. Oh, nobody's coming. I'm just
But the
gonna-"
neighbor said no, because he has a holiday trailer or a flat deck trailer or something,
Yeah.
and he said no.
And he's
got just as much right as Gary does.
Yeah, he was worried where that car is. I guess he backs a fairly big, no, sorry, it was
No.
this guy. Yeah.
There's one of them.
And he was worried that he couldn't get that motorhome backed in there.
There, no, the other guy on the other
It
side
was
is
the-
Clark.
it was the inside guy?
Clark, but I think he had a flat deck trailer that he brings home, and he wouldn't be able to make that turn into his driveway because it's right there, right by the garage at Gary's.
Yeah.
So yeah, the speed, the thing would end up going here, yeah, and it would
And he
be,
couldn't swing this way when he came down the road, right?
so if it's right there, then yeah, this driveway becomes a problem. So the only way for him to get his travel trailer, because he comes down here then and backs in.
You have to back it
He
down.
would have to go here and back all the way down and try and make that corner.
That's not fair.
Well, there's an easy solution.
Open up the green space.
Wow.
The backyard?
Sure, you could do that. You, right where the barricade is, let's consider that a permanent street closure. So that we're, playing with the rules as far as the Ministry of Transportation is, and just shut off that street right there, right? No access. And then we own that road. So let's put it up for sale, and whoever buys it can use it.
What I had spoken to Gary, what I'd suggested was that if he made some Papa Don's parking here signs, I would rubber stamp the sign application for him, waive the fees, here you go. But, you know, so you've got room for 3 or 4 parallel parked vehicles right there with a 30-second walk to the restaurant. That hasn't happened yet. And then the other thing that I'd done last year, from this point, right here, I started once the barricades were in, to go from there all the way around down Nodes' side street, Nadine Street, into the back, and come in here, park to a stop, turn off my ignition was 52 seconds. So for the owners of the restaurant to say that 52-second detour was destroying their business, not so sure about that.
Yeah, but they could open that green space on the side there
Absolutely, yeah.
and park in there.
That's an old picture with the barber shop, isn't there?
What, Lynn?
Isn't turning or the main drag here, that's the same scenario on a different street, that people would be coming from the Grand Prairie direction north, and they'd be taking that left-hand turn to get into parking for Papa Don's. It's the same thing.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just a different street,
You're
right?
Because
I think-
somebody coming this way that sees Papa Don's
Yeah.
parking here is just gonna do this.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah,
Exactly.
you're right. They're gonna see this before they see that. Eh. Good point.
We even had to tell the bus driver, me and Barb did that. He goes, "Oh, you got dirt on way."
I think he's gotta come back to us and bring some ideas what he's doing. It shouldn't have to be us
You're
solving the
absolutely
problem.
right.
Like, I wanna see what he's willing to do.
What he-
Like, we can work together, but just to come back and say, move the barricades.
So can we write a letter to him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Does this, in Sucret's old building there, you have the quilting shop,
Yeah, and then you have the spa.
and do people come from Dawson Creek
Yeah.
and cut across to get into that?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, we've got things going on all over the place.
Her entrance is right there, and there's no corresponding, no left turn or right turn only signage in here at all. So yeah, people coming from Dawson do make that corner for that turn.
See, you can kind of sympathize with Papa Don's.
Oh, yeah, you
Because, I
can.
mean, they're watching all of this stuff taking place.
But the neighbors are
and-
the ones that told us that they
Yeah.
wanted that shut off, right?
Yeah, I know, I realize that.
So that's why we shut it off, because it was Ministry of Transportation there that recommended we also do that one. And I said, no frickin' way, you're gonna have the old timers,
Yeah.
you're gonna change their minds on turning out. How many people use the post office and then go out, right?
Yeah.
But it was narrow and it was only supposed to be inward,
Yes.
it wasn't supposed to be outward.
No, but it is, it has always been.
Yeah.
There isn't a ton of evidence of accidents actually happening, but you're correct, your worship, the 2016 traffic study identified that as the most dangerous corner in town, so.
Yeah.
But that's the high point. That's the high point. You can't get out at Redwood. You can see a high point and you've got the opportunity to fly out of there, right?
Or delegation. to-
Yeah.
We're done. We're done. We're out of time, we're done. Unfinished business is rising from the minutes.
Well played, Councilor.
New business 8.1 recommendations.
The council decides what theme they would like for the Canada Day parade.
Barb? Have a second. Yeah.
Yeah.
All in favor? Any discussion?
You guys put your hand up before.
I have a question.
Okay.
What's the theme gonna be?
I know.
We gave you an idea or two. We need a theme.
What do you think?
What
Sandy?
is the theme for the museum is doing?
So the museum is doing Settlers Roundup.
Huh?
Staff discussed it last week. Well, none of you were here, and we all came up with either we liked Settlers Roundup or Canada Day
Okay,
past, present, future.
Explain to me what Roundup is.
I have no idea, you have to ask the museum.
Well, if you agreed with it, how do you know? You agreed with it.
No, I think she didn't.
No, I didn't say I agreed, I said this is what the museum is doing, because this is what we read in the report.
Yes.
What anniversary is it for the Village of Poos? 1932, we were incorporated.
6. Oh yeah, 87.
87th, I think.
We were incorporated in 1987?
Third,
1932.
So it's 87 years this year.
I know, because I had to do the proclamation.
You can
So,
wear the funky
can
dresses
you-
and everything?
Can you find out what the Settlers Roundup means, Sandy, and then council can agree with it or not agree with it? 'Cause, I mean, I don't want to be put in an ape suit or something.
I don't think apes would
Okay, so then we period costumes, so
You
okay.
wouldn't put on a costume?
I asked them to wear period costume outfits for the birthday. They wouldn't do that either.
You wouldn't find me one.
You wouldn't do it, so I
I
don't
don't
know.
do it.
You said no. Okay, I'll look into that.
So that's that one. The council approved the total borrowing, recommendation 8.2.
The council approved the total borrowing on the TD Visa at $60,000.
And I have a seconder. Discussion, why 60,000, Chris?
Yep, thank you, Worship. So, council will recall approving Sandy for a $10,000 card here a couple of meetings ago. When we sent that paperwork into TD, TD wanted a copy of the village's borrowing resolution, which we didn't have. So we've got the purchasing policy, which speaks to the staff members that are allowed to have Visa cards, but there was nothing from council authorizing staff as to a limit of what those cards could be. So when
Well, I think $60,000 is a little much, because we already had issues of one being $15,000. It was like $14,999 when the group investigated the Visa statements. So $60,000 is a lot of money for me to choke back.
So it's not 60,000 per card, that's the aggregate total borrowing limit split amongst however many cards we have. And what we're looking to do is 4 cards of $10,000 apiece. So one for me, one for Sandy, one for Blair, and one for Trina. And then that leaves us 20,000 in reserve for if any additional staff members or members of council. This limit also applies to you guys if any.
But you guys can easy pay the debit or the Visa card if we are run into that issue. I don't recommend $60,000
Okay.
Can I ask why does Trina have that on card?
because she pays for the bills. She pays it.
But
Is
she doesn't
this
need-
a rewards card?
That's a good question.
No, it's not, because it's the US, right?
No, our current ones are US. That's why we're changing this, because TD had us set up on this weird system where we're with a US TD subsidiary bank for our Visa cards. And apparently when that was set up, the administration of the day did it to facilitate cross-border travel, which never happens. So
It was for
we're,
all that duty stuff that came in.
The cookies.
the whole reason this is bubbled up is because I complained to TD and I said, guys, we can't, there's no website for these cards, it's a pain in the butt when we try and call and do anything, they're in the States. You're TD, you're the second biggest bank in the country, can't we have a Canadian Visa? Oh yeah, sure. Okay, so then when you started digging into the paperwork, all of this stuff kind of bubbled up.
Okay, well, we have 4 visas, so I see $10,000 each, $40,000.
I can remember asking this a couple of months ago because I thought that we should be using a Visa if it's a points card and we pay it off, like a rewards card. And that way we could use
For travel.
the travel as opposed to paying for
But
it.
we can't because it's corporate.
You can't do it because it's corporate.
Must
Well, that
be
would have
something.
been a much easier.
Look, we looked into
response.
that.
I can ask TD, it's possible. I know if we do go down that road, that the points couldn't be used by any of the staff members because A, they constitute a benefit, and B, they constitute a taxable benefit.
And same
You're
with us.
supposed to, council
Well,
as
none of
well.
us would be able to use them anyway, so.
Because it's over $250.
Yeah.
So to the best citizen of Pooskookie, you get a trip to Vegas.
That's a thrill. 808 people, you're gonna have a fight on your hands. So,
I can inquire with TD as to the types of cards, but I think Sandy's correct that it's not, it's just a standard purchase only Visa. I don't think the rewards cards.
And how many US visas did we have before?
We've got 3 right now.
And whose name was on?
Me, Trina, and Blair.
but before,
Before, under the previous administration,
yeah, it's Carol.
the mayor had one, yeah, the
Oh.
administrator had one. And I'm not sure if Trina had one in those days or not, but she did.
Trina's always got a card because that's where the purchasing's
Right.
always gone from his.
But Bill didn't have his till November.
Pardon?
Bill didn't get his till November. He didn't
He
have
got
any
his in
purchases.
November, I started here,
Yeah, the rest was all Carol, it all went to Carol.
and Blair got his that November too.
So I know this is a concerning number for council. Councilor Hewitt shared this in the meeting, prior to the council meeting here too. We have made significant strides in reconciling the Visa cards every month. So there's 3 times the oversight that's happening on those cards now, including yourself reviewing the
I'm not
invoices,
comfortable.
your worship, so.
I'm not comfortable with $60,000. If each person has $10,000, okay, fine.
Okay.
Because we watched in 1 month that Visa card be racked up to $14,099.99. And I'm still having a hard time swallowing that.
So Sandy, I just have a plain devil's advocate here. So say something happens to the loader or the backhoe and we need to have emergency service done to it and Blair has to pay on his card. The whole point to the extra $20,000 is that Chris can pick up the phone, and only Chris can do this. Can pick up the phone, call TD and say, I need you to release that extra money
Which is
for a
fine.
one-time thing.
Which is fine.
But
that
if you
has to
don't-
be in the report.
But if you don't include
If you
that,
don't include this $20,000, it's not there. So what it is that there's $10,000 on each card, okay? That's it. The total borrowing that we're gonna see is $40,000. There's a $20,000 that's gonna sit there in the bank that we don't have access to, unless it's an emergency, of which Chris is the only one who can unlock it. So if Blair's on the road or something happens and we need to have 12,000 or 18,000 released on the card, it's a call to Chris, Chris calls the TD, they release it. We don't, as staff, we don't have access to that extra $20,000. Our cards are all set at 10.
So it's more so like an emergency.
Yeah, it's like
As long as it's
protection.
emergency funds, you know how I feel, and I know you're cheap as cheap.
That's quite a hypothetical situation though. How many times would that happen? To get a part, if you were getting a part for a piece of equipment, you would have an account and they would be happy to send you the piece of equipment and invoice you for that part.
What if he's on the road with the command truck?
I mean,
Same
what
thing.
if, right? What if?
Yeah.
I'm not chasing what ifs.
The other recommendation from TD was that by setting that borrowing limit now to set up a new card for any new staff member or members of council was a call to TD, and we access some of the pre-authorized credit that's available. Other than that, it has to come back to you guys for.
I'd rather come back in
Yeah.
than I have, I know.
So,
Us.
so long story short, folks, this is entirely in your ballpark. Let me know what you want to see. We'll call it.
$40,000, that's, can I get a seconder on that?
Yeah.
All in favor? Sorry, but
No, that's okay, your worship.
I'm a little hesitant on that one.
Um,
8.3, my recommendation, what?
Sorry, with that in mind, no, I'll talk to you about that after, because we'll have to wait till the minutes are out in order to send that to TD. So maybe what I'll do, your worship, is draft up a letter that you can sign, that council passed a motion for 40,000, and that I can fire off this week. Because otherwise we'll have to wait for the minutes to be approved to reflect that
So you have it
change.
then?
Yeah.
Is that my running
Are
one?
these cards gonna be back before you guys take off for FCM?
It's 2 weeks,
Yeah.
usually for a reason.
The
Yeah, we've
advice,
been waiting for 6 months
yeah,
now.
the advice I got from TD was don't change those cards until we're back from FCM, so.
8.3 recommendation.
The council award the municipal office interior painting contract to Patrick Zimmer in the amount of $8,450 plus GST.
Can I get a second? And discussion. We're gonna have a clearance letter, Chris? WCB clearance letter?
Yeah, correct.
Liability
Yeah,
insurance?
these folks will have to abide by the full contract policy, so, yeah, there'll be WCB coverage and, yeah, full liability insurance.
Liability.
And we'll, like all of our work, we'll expect full WCB compliance with respect to safety equipment
And a GST number. I need the GST number. Any more discussion? Sorry, Lenny.
And they're painting after hours and on weekends? Oh, okay. Don't you feel a little bit vulnerable?
Sandy?
Yeah.
They're actually gonna try and do it over a long weekend, and they've painted in here before.
Oh,
They're the people who did the last painting.
And they're pretty fast.
okay.
And
Have you picked out the
99.9%
colours?
of what we have at the office is FOI, public information anyway, so
And anything they can't see is locked up.
I'll
So
have the
what about-
chocolate bars in my desk and we should be good to go.
What about the color? Who's picking the color?
We're gonna get some color swatches.
meeting and we're gonna make a collective decision.
I think council should maybe.
We are going to get color swatches, and Sandy's gonna stick them all over the wall, and everyone's gonna take their pick. Because it's not going to be this color.
Oh, not peach.
Is that what you guys call it?
I call
It's
it
a peachy, beigey
Do you know what I call it?
Band-Aid.
Baby diaper. I'm sorry.
You always did.
I like Ben.
Yes, I did. Some were green, some were green.
It was a little different color.
I had a whole range.
Even Danny's was a different color.
Okay, anyway.
So who's gonna pick the colors?
Well, to that end, your worship, if that's the way, because this is Sandy's project, it was assigned to her
Yes.
in the capital and special projects list. If council's okay, maybe what she can do then is line up those colors, reach out to you guys on a one-to-one, and then.
Well, I'll
pick a
have them
color.
here by next council meeting, and they can all, it won't be started before next council.
Oh, I
meeting.
thought these guys wanted to get going right away. Ah, okay.
You have a long weekend coming.
Yeah, that's
We're
like
just gonna
2
be doing
days.
neutral color, right? We're not gonna be doing some blues and some pinks.
No, the blinds are, the new blinds are they've got some brown and some beige and a little bit of black in them to pull from here and the floor, so we're gonna try and match, not yellow.
My vote's yellow, I said yellow.
You and Ken are voted down.
Green,
Green and yellow.
Green's happy, or yellow's happy too.
Who's to be colors?
Only out there.
Sage.
You can have an accent wall.
I
and
was
as long as
selling last weekend.
council's kept with the one.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
All in favor? 8.5. No, did we do the 8.5? 8.4 recommendation?
The council award the museum exterior painting contract to Patrick Zimmer in the amount of $12,200 plus GST.
Can I get a seconder? And discussion. And it's gonna be the same, right, Kristen?
So the soffits have been repaired or whatever.
Yeah, public works, yep, and put a whole bunch of screws in there and shored those all back up.
Dawn?
It says here that transformers were going to scrape and clean peeling paint. I'm hoping that Patrick's going to do that as well.
He's gonna do everything.
He's
He
doing it
didn't
all.
say anything.
Okay, 8.5 recommendation, oh, all in favor? Sorry. 8.5 recommendation?
That council received this report regarding Councillor Drover's resolution for information and to discuss the next steps they would like to take regarding the resolution.
Can I get a seconder?
Second.
Discussion.
So, I read this, I was quite pleased with the response. And basically it was, you know, this is pretty bad and you gotta smarten it up. And I think we knew that when it was presented. And what I was hoping for was an example to come back from wherever it was sent to or whoever looked at it.
They haven't sent us something.
And here we are, and nothing is done. So, you know, I don't know, what do you guys want to do? You want to scrap it?
Sandy?
So they don't rewrite it for us, they just gave us suggestions as to what to do. So this was her response here,
Whichever.
is what she
Yeah.
responded to.
And we knew that. We knew that at the meeting when we were talking about it.
But even ours, Sandy had it in early, like the other one, right, for BC assessment. Sandy had it in early, and then it was a late item. Like it was,
Like, I have no problem in withdrawing the motion. And,
What did you want to accomplish, Ken?
well,
To-
the whole purpose of it is Victoria is preaching at us. And in my opinion, they're being quite hypocritical in their saying to the oil and gas industry, you're bad.
Justifications,
All right, let's take a look at the amount of cruise ships coming into there and how they want to expand it, both Victoria and Vancouver. And if you look at the amount of emissions coming from those cruise ships, for them to turn around and say, you're bad for the industry that you're associated with, I find that very hypocritical and offensive.
yeah, Fort St. John did a resolution to not have the meetings in Whistler and Victoria, and it was defeated.
Yeah, and Blair actually got up there and spoke it and said, because we don't want to go anywhere that we're not welcome. That's how blunt he
And
was.
people still defeated it.
Yeah.
All the other communities defeated it.
Them changing the UBCM.
Yeah. So, you know, with regards to this is, you know,
We can write a letter.
this is delayed and it has to be edited, and we're no further ahead than what we were when it was first presented. I'm disappointed. Not in anyone else, I'm disappointed in myself for having the lack of knowledge to put together an appropriate letter and have it presented to council, and then have it presented at the UBCM. So having said that, I would make the motion to withdraw this.
Can I get a seconder on that? Carter?
I would like to suggest that I know where you're coming from. Could we suggest a letter and it's a letter stating the way we feel and send it to Victoria and Whistler
That would
with
be
a copy
that
of
would
it?
be another motion.
And send a copy of it to
No.
UBCM?
We couldn't send this.
No, but just to send a letter saying, you know what I mean, we're kind of offended the way we're treated up here. You know? So we are part of the
That
province.
would be a separate motion. We have a motion on the table. right?
No, Barb seconded it.
Okay.
Now we are all in favor on that one? Okay. Now we can do that motion for your letter.
So that's Barb's motion.
Yeah, I make a motion that I can help you.
Yeah.
But he's awesome. But a letter, it's not a resolution, but a letter stating exactly how you feel. It doesn't have to be fluffed up or anything,
Just to let you know though, Chris will delegate it to Sandy and Sandy will bring it to Chris and Chris will review it. So it's not just all Chris.
Well, the,
Some of them I make
I
it do.
I think more than my feelings are meant to be heard here.
No, it's NCLGA lost the ball this year. There's lots of people that aren't happy with NCLGA, including myself.
What is NCLGA, the acronym?
Northern,
North Central.
Global
Government
Government
Association.
Association.
And it's held where?
was
Yeah.
held in Williams Lake.
In Williamsburg. And it was a gong show.
It was a gong show. It was all meetings that we already, like the Caribou, we already had some.
we did
information on.
accomplish some good things.
The resolution was the thing that we accomplished.
Well, I'll talk them mine, okay.
Anyway, so you want to do that motion?
Who's this letter going to? Exactly.
UBCM.
UCM?
UBCM, Victoria, Whistler, the mayors of those two
And council.
and council. And just say, you know what I mean, we spend lots of money to go down there. How dare they, yeah.
But didn't you say that she changed her mind when she?
No,
No, she didn't?
no, she didn't. She got her eyes opened up, but she's
Still
still,
didn't change her mind?
because she would be a hypocrite then, right? She would be.
Well, she could
she'd
say
be embarrassed.
after, you know, there's a way to do it.
Yeah, no.
It was a pretty nice sports car she pulled up in.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
I need a second for my motion.
Can I get a seconder for Barbie's motion? All in favor? 8.6 recommendation.
The council approved donating items listed in Schedule A of this report to Peachtree Museum for their annual book sale.
And discussion, is this the, I have a question. Why are we doing the motion now?
Did you send those vases and stuff?
We did, your worship.
So if you'll take a look around, you'll notice that all the yucky stuff that you didn't want, we did keep some flowers because we needed something over there. But for the most part, we got rid of everything. And because the thing was coming up right away and you guys were here, we had to kind of do it backwards. I kind of knew you guys would say yes, so I was just crossing my fingers.
Thank you for making that suggestion. I was walking around giving out swag and I noticed the flowers. These ones look familiar. And I'm walking around and giving out things.
Remember the printer with all the cartridges?
Yeah. I know. Oh, this is a good one.
Well, I said,
Sorry.
donating to get rid of that stuff. Well, this is
And
an office, not a.
we didn't even call Chris on this one, we just kind of did it because we had to get it done ASAP and it was like, okay, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Skylar, pack it all up, itemize it for me and we'll just take it.
I think Chris would be happy if you got rid of his white desk too.
Well, I couldn't figure out how to replace that right away, so it's without actually spending money.
It's a chalk paint painted.
I have a truck that's spray painted, you can do my desk.
I do a garden coat or whatever line it is.
Oh, 8.7 recommendations.
The council consider awarding the flow meter installation contract to
Napa.
Industries 2006 limited in the amount of $73,966 plus GST for the commencement as soon as possible.
Can I get a seconder? Discussion. All in favor? What was the last quote on that one, Chris, that UBC, or Urban Systems said?
Yeah, that was through a company that had given us, it was just a quote, wasn't part of the tender. It was $115,000, including the meter itself, which we purchased directly for about $7,900.
So it's quite a substantial.
Yes, significant savings, so that's good. That does free up budget money too for council to consider other projects such as some of the paving, which are coming to the next council meeting. We've got individual quotes for all the various streets in the paving project, so we theoretically got an extra 30 grand to play with there, so.
Correspondence, 9.1 recommendation.
The council received a report from the Puscooby Fire Association and information.
Can I get a seconder? And I think we need to do a discussion on this, Chris, right?
If you'd like, your worship.
You start, Marlene.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that the fire department does an amazing job.
I'll second that.
Yeah, third it.
Yes. I mean, they're so out there in the public. They're just giving. And I feel bad that they have to rate us and tell us all
Yeah.
about it. And you know, I know that it's kind of aimed at me, but it's not that I have anything against the fire department, because I don't. They are incredible. I just have a problem with the ambulance call-outs. And it's the reason, it's because they're going out doing these ambulance calls. BC Ambulance is billing people for those calls, and Puscooby's not seeing anything from that. The fire department's not seeing anything from that. It's just a service that seems to me that the province is putting out there because BC ambulance was cut back.
Does our liability insurance even cut this, Chris? Like, did you check our liability insurance for the fire department to do medical calls?
As long as the members who are responding have the training, the appropriate training to be doing that, which 3 of them, I believe, have the sort of.
But all 3 of them, are they showing up on every medical call?
That, I'd have to ask the chief who's responding. It's different members, I think, for the most part. I know the chief responds to almost all of them
Yeah.
personally. He's very involved in
Yeah.
that, puts in a ton of hours. And he's one of the individuals with a higher level. I believe there's members with the higher yet still closer to the paramedic, if not a full paramedic.
One is full, I know, works for the ambulance service.
Yes.
Bart?
Is that liability in that ambulance within our borders, or is it extended beyond our borders?
Good question, Councillor Smith. That MIA, who provides our liability insurance, essentially wraps their arms around anything we're willing to take on. I have yet in my municipal service to come across a case where MIA says no. Give you an idea how flexible they are, the snowmobile races that we put on. You know, I put a call in MIA, hey, I want to race some snowmobiles around the park, what do you think about that? 24 hours later, yeah, you're good, go ahead, no problem.
I just don't want the regional district, because we work with the regional district, and if the regional district says no medical call, then that means no medical call.
That
Outside
has
the
to be
boundaries.
agreed with.
So that came up, yeah, at the NCLGA. I've already communicated that to the fire chief. So he doesn't seem to have an issue with it. He said approximately 5 calls a year that we're responding to, medical calls in.
I can see car crashes, when they have to cut the person out of the car, whatever, but that's not classified as medical.
We actually don't have that.
We don't have it.
We don't have those elected.
No, but
No.
they do attend that though.
Yeah. When they're called upon to do so. So I actually think that this letter in general, if council's agreeable to it, I would like to see the fire department present one of these to council on a more regular basis. Only
Yes.
because we don't know what we don't know, and reading through the work here and putting this on the public agenda, now the public knows all of
What
what
they
they
do.
hours. You know, to your point, Councilor Hooper, we all see them out there doing it, but when
Yeah.
the sum of the parts comes together and it gets written on paper, it's pretty impactful, so.
So we'll do a motion that they come to council meeting every 3 months?
If you'd like to have them come, or simply present one
Or
of
write a
these
letter.
as well, yeah, that'd be totally okay.
Of what they're doing?
With it in, for sure.
Every 3 months?
Can I get a seconder? Yeah. All in favor? Okay. The council received, 8.9.2 recommendation?
Pardon?
Oh, no,
The
it's not.
council received a letter from the survey authority as information.
Can I get a seconder? Discussion, Chris, will you write a letter and tell them where to go and how to do it?
Thank you, Your Worship. I couldn't agree more. Reading through this seems like the most reckless thing for a municipality to try and do with taxpayer funds I've come across in a long time. They do reference a couple of other larger cities that have investment policies similar to this. They seem to be in Alberta. So perhaps the rules are more lax in Alberta, but I know as the finance officer of this municipality, I would never dream of putting a taxpayer dollar into an investment that shellacked by the stock market. It's not a place to do so.
You never go for them, go for them.
If I want to do that personally with my RSP or my TFSA, fine. Our role is not to squeeze money out of the markets here, it's to prudently invest the taxpayer dollars for use at some point in the future. And I absolutely don't support something like this, it doesn't make sense.
Okay. All in favor, Chris, will write a letter? Anybody see anything else? I will be going to the coal farm. Okay. So 9.6, heritage designation and programs. Can I get a seconder on this one? Bart? Any discussion? Bart?
I would like us to send a letter of support for Karen Goodings, the Alaska Highway Community Society, and CC it to Mandy McCarthy, that the Alaska Highway is a very important land, and it should be a heritage site, and we are supporting the endeavors of the Alaska Highway Community Society to have it indicated as a heritage.
All in favor? You got that, Chris? Can I have a seconder? Can I have a seconder on that then?
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
You got that? Tim, resolutions none, 11 bylaws, 12 administration report, CAO report.
Thank you, Your Worship.
We've got 4 days.
Canada, yeah. Early days. Well, I'll leave most of the NCLGA stuff to yourself and Councilor Smith, but catching up on some items from the week before and some stuff that Sandy, who was acting CAO while I was away. We had first Canada Day meeting, quite a lengthy one, all the staff was present, including the rec coordinator. We got a solid game plan for Canada Day, minus the theme and a couple of other little.
I just don't think we should spend that much money because of the volunteers. We don't have the volunteers.
Correct, Your Worship, that's.
So I don't think we should be spending that type of money. If people don't want to help out, they just want to go and expect us to be spending all this money, but they don't want to help us out, so.
And they want everything free.
And they want everything free, so I think we should honestly think about cutting back on the Canada Day parade.
Okay.
And the Canada Day, because,
The parade's low cost, where we run into most of the cost is actually at the after parade.
yeah,
activities.
the festival over there, like,
To that end, nobody has come forward with any of the volunteer advertising we've put out there, either in the newsletter, the mail drop, the stuff online, Facebook. So
Yeah.
part of what came out of that Canada Day meeting was the fire hall's gonna use their signboard that's on the highway. And we're gonna put on the highway, volunteers urgently needed for Canada Day. Without stating that, you know, we were hesitant to go that far,
I
without saying,
honestly
folks,
don't.
you don't step up to the plate, you might not be able to do it, but now
I
it's. Sandy wanted to just go
I
in
wanted
there
to
and
say
yeah.
volunteers urgently needed for Canada Day,
Or
or it's
risk
in
it.
jeopardy and getting canceled. He said no.
not canceled, cut back.
Oh, okay,
So
well,
your bouncy castles, out the door. Your face painting, out the door.
We
We'll
get
come
food
trucks in, we'll get the food trucks in, and you guys have our, you can have your tents, that's it. You guys don't wanna help us volunteer? Then fine. Why leave it up to our staff that we have to pay to do it? I mean, some do it on volunteer, yes, I realize that, but you guys also, per hour, if we have to lay out that money, it costs a lot of money to operate that Canada Day parade. And it pisses me off that we don't get volunteers.
We had staff members doing 10-hour shifts at that
Yeah.
places last year.
Yeah, and that's not fair to them, they have family too.
They bring their family, make
Well,
their
they make
family
their family
volunteer.
work, but still,
In a lot of
like we
cases,
have
their
these
families coming to
residents,
volunteer at the one thing.
we have these residents that want, that thing we held in the spring. They're all, winter jamboree, they're all quick to tell us what they want, the talent show and all that, but I haven't seen them step up to, at all. So, no, why is it the taxpayers have to pay for this festival when none of them actually wanna help?
How many responses did we get back from the Jamboree, Sandy? For like 30 or 40, I think, eh?
Of suggestions, not volunteers.
No, and that was my point with that, Your Worship. You
Yeah.
know,
we
dozens,
got about 20 or 30.
yeah, dozens of suggestions, literally, and part of
But
that.
some of those were have community volunteer.
Mhm.
Some of those suggestions were, they said, have residents volunteer.
But they didn't
But
put
how
the
do you
name
get
out.
those people to volunteer? Like,
On the bottom though, didn't it say, are you willing to volunteer?
no, it was just suggestions.
But we did
on
put a
that.
drop box out,
We did, we put out
and
a
nobody even
letter.
filled it out.
We did a direct mail drop to every mailbox in town. Urgently need volunteers. Please sign this, tear this off, and drop it off at town hall with your
Bob said
contact
to me, are
info.
you gonna fill it?
I would urge, and I would compel you all to simmer down.
No.
Hold on. Right? The Canada Day Parade and Barbecue has put Poos Koopy on the map.
But it's doubled since
Oh,
I became the mayor.
yes, all the
And
better. It is successful. But be under no disillusion. If we were to cut back and say, no, it's just gonna be a parade and whatever, Dawson Creek would step up
They don't have the
and
money.
we would lose that
They
event.
don't have the
And
money.
we would lose that event and it would be gone and we would be wishing we had it. It's the one event that puts us on the map and I would
But we can
not-
do a smaller scale to back
I
to
would not-
2015.
I would not recommend that we reduce the budget on the Canada Day Parade. If it's something we have to bite to achieve, let's do it. It's our event.
Yeah.
In the piece, Canada Day is all about Poos.
Yeah, it is, but it also includes the volunteers. It also includes the residents to be involved with Canada Day, not just tell us what they want, right? Fine.
Oh, Barb's.
Oh, Barb, sorry.
It's not about the money. The thing is, what event do you go to in Dawson Creek that everything is fair for the day, free for the day? The face painting, you know what I mean? And we ask for some volunteers
I like that.
and no one steps up. It's not the money, it's just,
It is the money to me. It's all about saving money to me. And if these people don't want to step up and help us, why should we even bend over for them? They want to dictate to us that they want, then get out there and help us. Simple.
Now, Poos Cookie Barbecue, the barbecue doesn't really exist anymore.
No.
And
It's July 1st festival.
it was a funding for the Poos Cookie Community Hospital. I was over there, right? Right. And I mean, they have their pit beef and you have all these volunteers. I think you could even see pictures. Is it Ken here? Yeah. I've even been in that building. Yeah. And, the last time that we did have the pit beef, it was absolutely amazing and I did get to volunteer. I was so happy to do so. And usually, it's older people that are volunteering for those kinds of things. Now, we've had to change it because we can't do the pit beef. And I don't know how many people go down there anymore. I entertain on July 1st, and I have somebody come up from the island just for July 1st. Just for that.
The fire department cooked beef last year, and it was wow.
Yeah,
But why should just the fire department, right?
yeah, exactly.
In the museum
and
Yeah.
staff.
and staff?
Staff and staff's family worships.
Yeah.
Last year's Canada Day, we didn't have a single off-the-street community member serving the public at Canada Day. It was all fire department, staff, and the spouses and children of staff members. For a day-long event that's open to the entire region, it's a little bit of a tough pill to swallow for.
So I think we should scale it back to 15, because it's triple 16, 17, and 18. It's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and I think we should scale it back to
The town.
the 15. Because 15 wasn't really much.
Do you remember what our budget was?
No, but I'm sure you could look that up. I don't think it was too much.
Well,
Because the foundation would have done,
Yeah, so right now, as it sits, I can tell you what the costs are so far that we've already committed to. We've already committed to $12,000 in bouncy houses.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, we've already done that. Part of the reason for this conversation is, the bands are gonna come up tomorrow in conversation. We've got Marty working on it. He's asked that he be the first one, and we've said, yes, that's fine, because we don't know if dump truck's going to be in. He asked what the budget was, we left it the same as last year, so it was $1,600 we paid each band. So there you're at $3,200. We're already at almost $20,000. We haven't bought swag, we
We don't
haven't
need
rented the
swag.
tents, we haven't, so I guess that's kind of what we need to know going
How
into
long
this,
is it
starting tomorrow. Pardon?
how long would the band work?
Well, you see, there's the other thing, we've taken it from 12 o'clock in the afternoon till 4 in the afternoon, or till 2, and now we've made it from 12, and we're saying it's going till 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, no, I think we should back it up to 4.
You want it back to 4? Okay, Chris,
All
how do you want to do
right.
this? Should I just take notes on all this, or?
Yeah, maybe you can say.
Okay, so we want the band back to 4, so go
Well,
12
you
to
know,
4.
we decided to do that to keep the people there so we could have the fireworks. But we don't even have to have the fireworks if that's the case.
But everybody expensive.
So right now,
We've already got half the fireworks still from last year on reserve, and I actually told Al.
you told them to purchase more, because you told me that last week, and
Yeah.
I said, hold on.
Yeah.
I said, just wait, don't do anything yet, but
And bear in mind, folks, we've been charging forward on the approved council budget for.
Oh, I know
for
you've been
this year.
charging
Yeah.
forward, but, I think this is an important thing since we've got no volunteers.
Our fire department works all day with the parade, all the time over there, plus doing the fireworks.
so this year, the fire department has
Still on
said
standby for fire
they will
calls.
not be volunteering at the bouncy castles this year.
Yeah.
Theirs told us that already. They're gonna be doing their food, their barbecue, they're gonna do the parade and fireworks if need be, but they will not be helping with the bouncy castles this year.
No, so.
So there we've lost 6 to 8 of our volunteers right there. So, and if we're gonna do the band just 12 to 4, then we only really need one band now, we don't need two.
Yes.
Right.
$1,600 before.
Well, you should scale back.
And you don't want any swag?
40.
I don't think any swag, I don't think it's swag.
We
Uh,
have it every year.
flags and-
Oh, the
Well, the
flags.
Canada Day flags, that's free, but
Oh.
every year we've been buying things like water bottles, stress balls.
We have enough of that stuff going around here, don't we?
No.
We don't have enough water bottles, but we could just get rid of everything we've got.
Yeah. Yeah. And when
So-
it's gone, it's
No more
gone.
swag.
Yeah, to your point, your worship, there's been a significant increase since 2015.
Well, yeah, because the
Actually,
foundation did it all.
Yeah, since 2014.
Well, 2015, wasn't it the flood?
So this
Okay, so
is the,
that's the year they
this is the
didn't do it.
2015 budget that's presenting the 2014 budget and audited. So that year, the council of the day had budgeted 16, they spent 23. And then the budget for the following year, now bear in mind, that's for both Canada Day and a winter jamboree.
Well, we didn't have the winter jamboree
Okay,
then.
so then it's all Canada Day, and it was 15.
And what do we have it budgeted
I
at?
believe we're at 47 plus some staff time.
Yeah, so I think we need to.
Yeah, we're 60, we're gonna hit 60.
Do we have
Can we
to
go to
give our
30?
staff a day off in the lieu of
Yes.
July 1st?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's
collective
costing,
agreement.
yeah, so that's costing too.
Yeah, that's labor.
Yes.
But you gotta remember that when staff works, they're getting paid
Double time.
overtime, they get double time for the first 4 hours. And then they're getting triple time, anything after that. And then they also get their day in lieu.
Mhm. So
it's
then that
very
costs the
cost-
taxpayers a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, if we don't have volunteers to do it.
You get Blair, Chris and I for nothing, sort of.
Because you're managers.
Sort of.
But I don't know.
So I guess what I'm looking for from council is telling me exactly what it is we, staff are going to start planning for. Because we're gonna start having a meeting tomorrow about Canada Day, because we wanna try and be on top of it this year. So if we're cutting it way back, we might still be able to get out of some of the bouncy castles. Some of them, I know we can't. We read the contract last week and we can't. But I think the little one, we can.
Well, even
I
having
think,
said
I
that.
think before we get on the hot seat, I think you better put that billboard up.
What do you think of just running that for 2 weeks and see
Run
what
that for 2
happens, and
weeks
then
and
come
then-
back to council on the 15th, or the 5th, and see where we're at?
Yeah.
I really think
I
we
think-
should put, it's in jeopardy.
It is in
Cut
jeopardy,
back.
I honestly think you should.
Chris doesn't think so?
Well,
Wow.
What do you wanna say?
What do you want to say?
Desperate need of help.
It says volunteers urgently needed.
Yeah.
If people actually paid attention to actually how much staff money is being spent on it, they'd get off their butts and come and
Well,
help.
that's kind of
I
why we
think
did the
that's
report for the winter jamboree for you, to show you what it was without staff time and with staff time.
We don't necessarily need volunteers from the community to push in the kind of days that we're putting in. I mean, it's a 12, 14-hour day for most of the staff members that go there, but if members of the community want to volunteer in a 2-hour block to man the bouncy castles, well, that's 2 hours that somebody who's on a 12-hour day can kick their
Go
feet
and-
up
yeah,
and
go
sit
somewhere.
and relax for a bit. You know, we have the entire schedule for all of those on a giant Excel spreadsheet, all broken down into 2-hour blocks with everybody all coded and color coded. We can plug people in wherever. So, you know, I worry that maybe the hesitation for people to be stepping up to the plate is they're saying, oh, I'm not giving up a whole day for this.
Yeah, what did we say?
You
Don't
know,
eat 2 hours.
Don't eat 2 hours, you know, if we have a dozen people come to the table with 2 hours, that's gonna have an amazing impact on
We need to have so many people volunteer to
Like
do
you've
stuff.
been-
Yeah, but everybody's older that
Yeah, they're all
volunteers.
old.
Well, I-
What if all of council went on their Facebook pages? There's no shit on their Facebook. But there is
And I
some
try and
council
stay away from
members here who reach out to people through Facebook. You guys do post your
You
questions.
can put your, on your village.
I've done that.
Yeah, we're
We're not getting it done.
not getting anything.
The mayor says I can say this. Get your butts out here.
We're
You're worried
literally-
about money all the time and what the taxpayers are spending on things? I suggest you get your butts out there and start volunteering.
We're literally considering this sign thing as a last resort because we're out of ideas to get folks to step up. Like, we've done everything we can.
Well, you better change it soon.
Well, it
because
doesn't help
everybody's
that we
still
have
saying-
a
He's
Sure.
waiting,
Yeah.
he's gonna do it tomorrow, but
Facebook.
one of the other things that Al suggested last week in the Canada Day meeting was offering some sort of incentive to volunteer. Like, well, some people, you know, it takes some, what I suggested to Chris today was putting a swag bag together for them. But in the swag bag would be a Pooskin baseball cap, a t-shirt, and a water bottle. That's it. And their food voucher. And that's kind of like their thank you for coming out and
That's it.
years ago, she used to buy, past administration, used to buy Visa cards for everyone.
What?
Whoa.
Was I allowed to say that in public?
Yeah.
Yes.
cards?
Well,
Yes, that's how
the
she,
Visa gift cards.
yeah, that's how she thanked people.
I'll have to say I'm guilty, I haven't done very much since the park was closed. But before that, I've done every friggin' thing that there was down there. I bought the beef, I seasoned the beef, I wrapped the beef, I cooked the beef, I sliced the beef, I made the potato salad.
It's not just us that's having this issue either. I bumped into one of the PAC committee members from the elementary school, and this topic came up because she was coming in to borrow the popcorn machine to do an event they were having over there, same thing. It's the same 6 or 7 PAC members and their husbands and kids that are showing up to do all of this stuff at the school, and she expressed the
Amber?
same frustration.
Amber?
Yeah, I think it was. And she expressed the same frustration. We're kind of feeling like this, you know, it's losing the sense of a community event because, you know, community members participate.
So then why don't we just hire somebody to just take it over and do it, if that's the case? This is just craziness. I don't know.
I know our staff, and speaking for everybody, I mean, we're committed to doing it. It's
Well,
not
then we
only
start
part of
meeting July
part of
1st.
our contract, but it's, you know, we enjoy putting that on for the community too.
Yeah,
But
but it's also their day off. I'm sure that they have some resentment.
that's where, yeah, with
You
that
know, like,
end,
I would.
I don't think any of the
I
staff
do.
members would be upset that, hey, I get to come to Canada Day and participate now rather than the
Okay.
host.
Okay, we need to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Chris, you need to finish your report.
Yeah, okay.
So Sandy, you were gonna put the sign up.
Yes, we'll get that tomorrow.
Following one of the meetings at NCLGA, we're going out to a community notice that the Northern Health Bus is changing location, so that's to be going out tomorrow or Friday, I think we said.
Did you
It's
contact
already
Fiona?
Yeah,
Did you contact Fiona?
yeah, we gave her a
She's already
picture of the
posted it.
location and, yeah.
It was on their Facebook today.
Skate park contractor has already started bringing some of his equipment to the site. We're doing the site meeting on Friday morning, so that's gonna be kicking off very soon. The bylaws, the tax rate bylaw and the financial plan bylaw have been sent to LGDE and filed with them. That's a charter requirement, so I just want to let you guys know that. The sewer, the sewer meter, the outflow meter, we've got an issue down at the sewage lagoon. We've had another landslide that's taking place, and part of the riverbank where the big final pond is has let go. It just happens to be where our poop out meter is. It's broken the line, so Urban Systems has been made aware of it. We're still discharging now because we've only got a discharge window until June 30th. A license we have right now is until May 30th.
Okay.
So until Urban tells me to stop, it's still going in the same direction. It's just not going underground and up through the piping system that it was supposed to be.
What is the Ministry of Environment?
Their Urban's working with the Ministry of Environment as we speak to try and figure out if we need to shut it down or file some type of spill form or something like that. It's still ending up in the same place. at the end
But
of
it's
the day.
not.
But it's not through the same piping and discharge. Apparently the pipe went down and underground and came up under the riverbed to help disperse the flow. It's not doing that anymore. It's just kind of going into the side of the river.
Do we have any idea the cost to get that repaired?
It's gonna be $10.
Oh, and
But we're not talking excavation on the riverbank and plus engineering to fix the discharge pipe and.
Is that insurance, an insurance charge?
I asked Josh about that today. Because it was a failure on the riverbank, he's investigating whether or not this might be claimable under a disaster relief fund for us. So, I'm gonna go down that avenue first. If not, then I'm gonna contact MIA and see if there's any type of insurance claim that we can maybe make.
I think Ralph excavating installed that.
It's been there for a while, yeah.
Is
so-
it Joe to him?
Yeah, Josh found the original design and he said it was from 83 or 86.
Oh,
So it's been there a while. That's the design he referenced. Because I called him playing phone tag and then he found the paperwork, said, okay, I see what you're looking at. I'm looking at a drawing from 1983 or 1986.
Well, I know, yeah, because Clinton did a bunch of work down there, and then Gilbert did a bunch of work down there.
Okay. Okay, so it's, yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, so that's it. I just want to let you guys know that's happened and we're in the preliminary stages of trying to figure out how to fix that.
Well, can you contact Clinton and see if, because he's the sewer guy, Clinton is, and see what he did down there?
Urban might even have records of what each of the contractors did too, because anything that touches the lagoons, they're the primary contact on it. So.
I don't think they were in 14, 15. Just have that. for me.
Okay.
Keeping the food.
Okay. And summer students, you've got 3. Allie, Jordy, and Jody.
And Jody would be Wilson, is that awesome?
Hecker.
So not too confusing, but apparently they're really good workers and Blair's super happy with them so far. And one of them, and I think it was Jordy, just wanted to give him a note of thanks. There was a resident that was coming down the street here, lost the bumper on their F-350 and he jumped out onto the street and helped her break it loose and get it off and get her back and on her way. So big thanks to him.
I'd like to hear that.
Already stepping up and doing
They all work in harmony. It's very soothing to watch them actually. They were building a flower bed over here yesterday, and there's 3 of them, and they were in a row, and they in unison. They had the flower bed built in like 15 minutes. One was taken off the truck, the middle one was and then the last one was placing them. It was just.
Yep.
They were all weeding the flower beds over there. They're all kind of splayed out all over, but they had it done in like 20 minutes. They're all joking around and they all get along really well.
So,
That's nice to see.
continuing on the Public Works theme, we talked about Public Works Day today over in the staff meeting, so we're gonna try and move it to the elementary school.
Public Works.
Yeah, it's Public Works Week, the last week of May.
Next
So we're gonna
week.
put it in,
Yeah, we're gonna bring the equipment, we're hoping that the elementary school's okay with it, we can bring the equipment down there, and let the kids play on it, and then we're gonna do a little bit of.
there's no keys in it.
Public Works is there.
You never know about some kids.
We're starting to see some rejected recycle bins again, and also rejected garbage bins for being overfull and that type of thing, so we're keeping an eye on it, no immediate action. We sent the flowers to former councillor Wally's funeral as requested.
George.
we've incurred a significant invoice for some sewer work. So we had a backed up sewer that was happening over 49th.
Here?
Yeah,
Up here at the top.
yeah, up here at the top and down
Below me?
down Councillor Smith's neck of the woods there too. That was a result of a resident call saying the toilet was backed up. When we got the sewer company in there and did the camera scoping, there was about an inch of the otherwise 6-inch pipe that wasn't full of sludge, as they're calling it. Imagine something less pleasant.
Dish soap. Dish soap is one of the main things that clog the sewer pipes.
Yeah, so our direction to the contractor was, okay, we gotta open this thing up, keep cleaning until you hit clean pipe. 9 days and $29,000 later, you're now clean pipe. The contractor did do a bunch of other camera scoping elsewhere, and they commented that a section of the sewer pipe on Railway between 49th and 50th that he thinks is either old concrete or clay pipe is in quite poor condition. He recommended that we put that on the real soon radar too.
So that $30,000 that we have extra.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's where it's going.
So yeah, probably in next year's capital plan. That gives me a year though to get a hold of Urban and come up with some engineering and figure out exactly where we need to do that work and so on and so forth. I don't know if we should get into a project of doing Railway in its entirety, but if that's the recommendation that comes back, I'll bring that to you guys for discussion. We'll see where we go with it. That's it for me, George.
Okay, so the action items. Anybody see anything?
Did they fix the yard across from your place?
What?
Did they fix the yard across from your place?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm very tired, I'm not responding well.
So most of this is all research track. This is all on the go, right?
Yeah, your worship, 90% of this is all underway here. Sorry.
Tourism video? What is this?
Rob's video.
Oh, it is Rob's?
Yeah.
Okay, and then Rico chartered account.
Yeah, that one we talked about in the staff meeting today. There hasn't been, well, I shouldn't say that. The new chart of accounts is all ready. What we've got to do is work with Maze to get it uploaded into Maze. The finance clerk though was asked that we not really do that till January, just so that the account numbers don't all change mid-year. So we talked about how to do that. We'll let you guys know once we work the logistics of that sort of thing.
Okay. So capital special projects? Street park? Okay.
We need to get together at that cemetery.
So when does the relocation of the welcome sign get changed to this?
That's a project that was assigned to Alistair, so he's working on it.
Is it to find out the relocation or?
Well, first we gotta do the.
Oh, permits.
Yeah, get the permitting with the ministry is the first step, and then to actually move the sign isn't a big deal at all, so.
Okay, so he hasn't worked on the permitting yet?
I have to ask him where he is with it.
Did you do that?
Yep.
So,
What did you say, Simon?
Can't talk to me yet, I don't have all the information.
So can we get this underway here? And then asset management completed. Okay, nobody sees anything? Sandy's got her blinds, it's not $10,000, right, Sandy?
What?
For those blinds? You were going on.
You wanna know how much my blinds are?
Yeah, I do.
Do you? Yeah. You should see the smoking deal I got.
Yeah?
Thanks to Trina.
What was it?
$3,800
Oh,
for the entire office.
Wow.
Good.
Not just this room, I'm getting the whole office done. Trina's like, that's not fair. I refer everybody, she never gives me a deal. It's a friend of hers from Grand Prairie, but they own Budget Blinds or whatever. And she came out, she gave me a quote, and then she gave me the referral discount. She gave us $1,800 off on the whole order.
Wow.
Pardon?
You bought them, Reverend? Are we paying
Yes.
GST on that? Or PST on that?
I don't know. I don't have a bill yet.
We're gonna pay PST on that, right, Chris?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell Trina to make sure there's PST on the bill. There.
Just in the capital special projects in general, I do want to say, out to staff, I guess, through council, I'm extremely happy at how fast everything's starting to get done. We got a couple that we haven't quite wrapped up, but we're crossing these off, and there's a good likelihood that some of those beautification projects will push off until next year.
Again?
Well, that we'll be able to bring those back into to this year here too. We're looking really strong for.
What about the Rangers? Because they were willing to help out in any beautification. They have to do something for their badges or whatever, right? So. And even those groups that use our gym, they never came back to volunteer any of the time. We did ask them that. So next year we know better.
Alistair spoke to the volleyball folks today, and said, where are you at with all these letters and stuff that we've been asking, and they came back and said, well, we want specifics, what exactly are you looking for us to do, and so on and so forth.
So then next year we put it on note that nobody gets the gym for free.
We can send them a letter stating what we want exactly.
No, we didn't.
Why not?
So,
Why can't we say we would like volunteers for Canada Day? This is what we want. We want 20 hours.
we said Canada Day, but no specifics as to if it's bouncy castles or.
So why can't we do that?
In my opinion, that was a little bit of a deflection.
So do it? Exactly.
But do it
Then you
anyway.
come back and say, oh, how can we help with
Yeah,
that?
tell us what you need us to do. It was, well, we'll consider it if you tell us specifics.
Are they still using the gym?
Pardon?
Are they still using the gym?
No, that ended in April.
They still have a key though.
So
Yeah.
we need the key back.
Yeah, that was part of the call. He asked him for the feedback today.
And then send them a letter of the specifics. And if they don't step up to the plate, they pay next year.
We'd asked for 60 hours in total for,
So why don't we write them and say we would like 15 hours or 10 to 15 total man hours for Canada Day. How they put that together is up to them. They get 5 people that do 3.
Person hours. Person hours?
Oh, person hours, sorry. Alistair will write it. He'll do it properly.
yeah.
You'll need politically correct.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so we got that in the way. We're gonna have to do a seconder and all in favor and all.
No, your worship, we can just write that. That's okay.
Okay, so counselor calendars. Mayor Wade, Mayor's back, Mayor's Wade, leaving on the 17th again. She won't get back till the 20th. Did you do the original district on the 30th? No, because I'm.
She'll be in Quebec.
You be doing that, dear. Okay. So we're leaving on the 27th, and I come back on when?
Before,
Yeah, before.
Does it have to be in Abbotsford on the 5th?
What?
What?
So you're not here for the meeting?
I'm not sure.
Oh.
Well, then I'll have to move my appointment till the 7th.
No, we still have a quorum.
Yeah, we still have quorum. The other option, we don't.
One of you can
There's
phone.
three.
Oh, yeah,
There's only 3.
we only need 3 out of 5 for quorum, so.
You could phone in if you want.
The other thing to consider with that too, your worship, is that I think there's probably a connecting flight through Vancouver, isn't there?
For what?
If she's coming back on the 4th.
I have
why
surgery
come-
on the 5th.
Why come back up here, not only to head back down?
Yeah.
She'll have to go and change her flights under her card anyway.
Okay.
No, I'll just go down on the 7th. Yeah, have one day. What?
can you change it? Is that a business surgery?
No, the 5th is. But anyway, nobody has any other comments? Okay. So, Councillor White's report.
I attended Maria Schneider's funeral for the council.
When was that?
That was the day that it snowed.
What day was that?
Oh, God.
Who's funeral?
Merle Schneider.
so
Gail did lots of stuff with me in the village.
No, I know, but so then they,
Oh, okay.
he passed away, right? And then
Yeah.
they did a, sorry.
They did the funeral and I attended it. And then I did the museum garage sale. That's about it.
Okay.
I am so lost in
Sandy.
Can I ask a question about Saturday? How did it go with just doing the swag bag?
Good.
Was that a good thing, bad
The
thing?
kids just loved us.
Yes.
I made about
They picked
$400
anyone.
Did you? Where
You were selling it, you weren't handing it out.
He was trying to sell it.
So that was okay with no staff here? You
I
guys-
didn't go.
Oh, you didn't go?
I didn't hand my bag.
Oh, did you? Everybody gave Ken their bed. I didn't.
That's
That's
how
how
you
you
had
had
so much stuff.
And then Blair got you the bag from here.
That's how come you had so much damn
That's
stuff.
something I have, half the counselors don't have a code to the back or a key to the front door.
I don't want that
Because,
responsibility.
well, no, I don't either, but the other night Ken come to my house when I got back from the NCLGA, I gave him my bag. Because I
told
wasn't
him.
attending. I didn't want a call out from you because it would cost money.
I was in Edmonton, I wasn't coming.
Yeah, but I didn't want,
But I had got a hold of Blair because I knew Blair was gonna be at the fire hall that day. Because he had the truck, servicing of the trucks were being done. So I had asked Blair if Ken found him to come and get the bag. I wasn't gonna do a special call out for it.
That's how come you had so much damn
you
stuff.
sneaky man.
Because every bag had exactly the same thing in it. They all
Yeah, I
had
know, but
exactly
he
the
had
same
3
amount.
times the amount that we had.
And Christmas stockings at my house was gonna be beautiful.
And we could have had some more of those frisbee thingies, because the kids just love those.
Yes.
Did they? Oh, we've got more in there.
Yeah, they love those.
And I was trying to talk people into taking the pins and the keychains. Said, you know, if you have a special someone coming to visit, or,
It wasn't working.
no.
They like the whistle one.
Is it?
And the flashlight, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Counselor Smith.
Our resolution went through, we had nobody speak up and oppose it. I would like to thank administration and staff for helping me get my stuff together and present it in a verbally catching way, and I think that really made a difference.
I'd like to say one thing. Barb did an awesome job doing that.
Yeah, was
Resolution.
there anybody else that had the same issue?
No, but everybody was like,
Didn't notice it.
oh, they had issues, but people didn't. like,
They didn't understand what the issue was until the write-up, which we all worked together. The way it was stated, it was in just layman's terms.
Yeah.
They all were like, oh my God.
So they're all gonna go back now and look.
They are, yeah, they are, Chris.
And on that end, we accidentally came across 2 more properties today. So we're now up to 4 in
Where?
the village. On the highway corridor that are zoned commercial, they're on the tax roll as residential. And we stumbled across them because the resident had called and inquired about zoning. They want to do some alterations to the property.
So that's a green building?
It's actually the small little house that's up for sale right now.
They'll get their house.
That's a
Yeah,
commercial,
well,
that's actually a commercial property according
That's
to
Noah's
council's, yeah, according to council's zoning bylaw, but it's being taxed as residential by BC assessment.
But there's no commercial activity there.
There isn't, no,
It's on commercial.
no, but it's still a piece of commercial property.
That's the same with our trailer, was that way.
So-
It was on a commercial lot and I paid residential. And then, the apartments, the Bible college.
Yeah.
Turned around and rezoned it all and I didn't know. I didn't know anything until we went to build the house. And then, they said they gave me the permit and everything to build the house. And then Joe Judge phoned me up and said, we're gonna have to revoke that permit because you built a house on commercial land. I said, take me to court.
And, I mean, to Councilor Grover's point, you know, in that little house, had the communication come to administration, I'd have probably brought that to you guys and recommended that, it, you know, because it is, you know, to your point, it's a but it comes down to the same root issue. We're asked our opinion, it just happened.
So where's the other one? Is the green building?
It's the one right next to it as well. Yeah, there's two.
That's a
lots.
house.
There's two lots.
Yeah.
I mean, the
That
green
house has been there for 100 years. Why would it be a commercial property?
Yeah.
The whole front,
That whole
Originally-
frontage, yeah.
it's the frontage on
So what
the
are those
highway.
trailers?
Council is designated.
Those trailers are commercial
I
trailers?
haven't looked at any others past those.
That's so
The next block over, yeah.
So Sigrid should buy that little house and just expand.
Super tired.
I think she's,
Well,
She
that
loves her
was,
husband.
that was the inquiry, that somebody looking to buy the property is supposed to meet with me tomorrow morning and talk about what are the options. And they were under the impression it was residential, because I assume the real estate agent had provided them with the tax
Proper
notice,
documents.
which says residential right on it, but it's not, it's commercial.
Okay, so pass it on to your staff, help, thank you for the resolution. Also, we got there Monday and Interior Health was doing a Healthy Communities Forum. Lorraine and I went, it was a lot of tooting their horns, what they could do or whatever, what they've done, it was screaming, you know, whatever, toot their own horn.
It's a Barb Corner film.
So anyway, they brought up a thing, they wanted municipalities to collect data and give it back to the interior. I happened to be sitting with a lady from Grand Isle that see me jump out of my chair because we both in small communities, we know our residents. Like Mary and George has passed away. Mary doesn't drive, George always did the driving, so we know our residents or whatever. And the data that they want, we
Was a
need,
privacy issue too.
yeah, privacy issue, but they should come up and collect it. We don't know what data they're looking for.
So Barb
And-
suggested.
So I suggested a public meeting or even coming and doing a table at July 1st. But I want to include Tom's Lake, Gundy,
All the areas.
all the rural areas because they consider us their community too. And we want to hear from them what their issues are. Like, are they getting up there? Do they need meals? Do they need rides to, you know, we want to hear, but, so I said to them, hire some students and come up, we'll give you a hall. We have a community center, we have a seniors hall, you know what I mean? We'll get a hall, whatever you need, we'll get, but you come up and collect this data yourself, collect the data that you need, not
They were
us
dumbfounded.
collecting.
They were dumbfounded when she told them.
They come over and started writing.
Yeah,
they were
writing on sticky notes because they put some stuff up on the wall.
Like, don't tell me to do it. That's their job, and I don't know what they're looking for. We do have issues. We have seniors that are falling through the cracks, that are not getting the help that they need.
She needed a pop-off valve. That's how mad she was.
Okay, and my other thing I wanna ask, are we gonna have a barbecue for our staff and council this summer sometime?
oh, probably.
I don't care. It was on the budget, wasn't it?
We've got the volunteer barbecue line still in the budget.
Yeah, I know, but maybe that's what we should, our volunteers are the fire
Yeah.
department and stuff.
So we just have a museum.
And invite the museum and the library
The
too.
library.
And,
The
yeah,
three.
and just don't have it fancy, we could just get the barbecue
Down at Bruce Park and.
Yeah.
That'd actually be super cool.
and bring your kids and,
We used to do that all the time, had games and stuff to do.
anyway, that's my suggestion. So I thought that NCLJ, there was some good things. We went out and seen the Williams Lake Log Builders, that was
But that was
really
a field trip.
I saw your pictures.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there was some good things. It wasn't as good as it's been in previous years, but the networking, like me meeting this lady from Grand Isle, and it's her first term, and then she sees me. So now she's motivated to support me for my resolution that I was gonna have because I could talk. Yeah.
Did you tell her you used to be a mayor?
I just sat there watching Barb just steam.
Don't talk,
Been there, done that one before.
that when they want us to look at it. Like,
It was funny. I had a good laugh anyway. Okay.
that's all she did was laugh.
Councillor Hubert's report.
Oh, just went to the museum garage sale, saw the familiar items. Gave up the
Did you
sleigh.
take your sewing box home? I paid for it, you know.
It's in my birthday. I paid for it too.
Double dipping. Mama's really good at her job.
Well, it's funny, because most commented we had a really good year in terms of the garage sale I'm seeing.
It was by donation.
That's so funny.
Most of the stuff was by donation,
Yeah.
and it was this cute little thing, and she just loved it, so I bought it for her.
Oh, it's totally awesome, oh, sure.
Guest for
Lorraine
drawer.
doesn't sew.
I sent him to Dawn.
Yeah, the spring thing. That was awesome.
The spring fun.
Was it the spring?
Barbecue.
Barbecue museum opening.
You were just visiting with everybody, were you?
Did they sell many hamburgers and hot dogs?
I think we did.
I ate about $82 worth of hot dogs.
Well, Barbara.
And I bought a pie, that's 92.
Where did they start selling the hamburgers and hot dogs? I didn't see that.
They just had hamburgers, they just had hot dogs.
They didn't have hamburgers.
No, it was just
No.
hot
Well,
dogs.
that was not where Barbara was.
Yeah, Barbara's one.
And it was the funniest thing, right? If Les wasn't under enough stress as it was, to tell him to thank you for the steal of the deal, the buy of the day at the yard sale, and he's looking at me like I got 10 heads. Said, yeah, I just bought the rototiller behind the museum for $25. It was priceless. You're kidding. Tell me you're kidding. But you know what? That man worked his patootie.
He did, and then he said, please, people take this stuff. I don't want to load it up.
Yeah. We had a big tandem axle trailer full of stuff that ended up getting thrown out. but-
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they took some stuff up to the Pentecostal and then.
But some of the stuff is junk.
Yeah,
I know,
I was
yes.
just saying that too, that
Right.
broken
Why would people leave it-
household appliances that don't work
Yeah.
and they're.
Yeah.
But some really nice stuff.
But a lot of people went home with a lot of stuff.
It looked big.
It was.
There was lots of stuff.
There was lots of stuff.
So I met up with Les at 7 o'clock in the morning, and to assist with unloading the trailers and stuff like that. But they had already had a lot of work done.
Yeah, they start at 5.
And, Les found volunteers. You need to speak with Les. Where did he get his volunteers? In
They're
fact,
all
I know
relatives.
their names.
They're all relatives. They're all relatives.
Well, let's marry in somehow.
I am married and they don't talk to
All right, so that was awesome. And then I went and I enjoyed about $25 worth of pancakes. I kept going back because it was so delicious. Pancakes and sausages with
me.
real.
Was it Chris
syrup.
and Frank?
Frank, yeah.
Yeah, Frank. Yeah.
Bacon frickin'.
No, it was awesome.
Sheridan, Bob and I went to breakfast.
And, they bought some stuff from the yard sale myself.
Anything I brought was so.
And, yeah, it was really a great event and I enjoyed it and hopefully next year we can do it again.
Yes.
And Mary McKay, she went to NCLGA, but Barb answered everything for me. Our hotel was not very nice. The bears, the deer, the bears, we saw lots of bears, we saw lots of deer.
Where were you, on the outside of town?
No, we were in my house driving, well, driving.
No,
Well, you were in Indian Place, right?
Yeah.
what hotel were you at?
Sandman Hotel.
It was the first one on the list that they recommended.
The first day, they didn't even have a reservation, so me and Barb had to deal with this lady that was brand new, and her supervisor wouldn't come down and help her. So me and Barb, she sent us over where so we had to load our luggage back in the truck, drive around. We go up the stairs dragging our luggage, go into the elevator. There's no 260, what was it, 267 and 268. What the hell? So we go out of the elevator, drag our shit back down. Meantime, I'm So they heard me through the hotel, and I was just a-clucking.
Well, the lady from McBride, she had the same thing.
She had the same,
But
she wasn't saying anything, but I was just a-clucking. So anyway, the maintenance lady come and helped me pack my suitcases up the stairs. I said, I lost my girlfriend, I don't know where she is.
I found a chair and sat down and thought,
I said, you better go find her.
that's the only thing you can do when she gets fucking. She'll go get us corrected.
Oh, we had to drag them upstairs, you name it. Oh, it's just terrible.
Where did you stay?
I stayed the same then.
And he had the same issue.
I initially walked into a room that was assigned to me, registered under Sandy, and I opened the door, and half the distance from me to Sandy is a lady looking at me. I'm like, hi, I have this room. No, you don't. This is my room. No, I have this room. No, you don't. Back downstairs I go. An hour later, I had a different room after I spent 40 minutes trying to convince the same new girl at the counter that the lady that was in this room wasn't Sandy Stokes. She kept saying, I have the registration, that's Sandy Stokes in that room. No, it's not, ma'am. Sandy works for me. That is not Sandy. Oh yeah, it says here that's Sandy Stokes. I'm gonna call her and see if she'll move rooms. No, you won't. An hour. So finally I got another room and yeah.
Me and Barbara, probably the afternoon.
Yeah. By the time I pulled in, it was an hour and 30 minutes before I'd gotten into a room and taken my shoes off after an 8-hour drive.
Oh, that is.
Oh, just
How much
hilarious.
did it take us?
Yeah.
It took us 8 hours.
You flew.
I stopped in.
You know, I had
stopped
a,
in
so
Georgia.
the only time she went traveling with you.
I'm
safe. The only time she ever went slow is if I was driving.
When I was in the backseat going, come on, Donna!
Yeah, but the reason I was driving because you didn't want to drive this part.
Oh, okay, so that was it for me. Okay. In camera?
Yes, I make the motion that we move into in camera.
Can I get a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have to shut that off.
Yep.